Have you ever wondered why some men seem to effortlessly maintain control in their relationships, never getting dragged into unnecessary drama, never needing to raise their voice, and yet still commanding deep respect and attraction from women? What if I told you that the secret to this level of mastery lies not in manipulation or dominance, but in understanding, deep, psychological understanding, of certain predictable female weaknesses, and responding to them with timeless Stoic power? This isn't about controlling women. It's about mastering yourself. Because once you understand the emotional and psychological patterns most women follow, patterns wired by nature, intensified by society, you no longer feel lost, confused, or reactive. You stop playing the game on their terms, and instead, start leading your own life with purpose, presence, and principle. In today's video, you're going to uncover the 10 key female weaknesses that, once mastered, will give you the upper hand not just in your relationships, but in your entire mindset as a man. We're breaking down each one with clarity, precision, and real-life application through the lens of Stoicism, the ancient philosophy that created warriors, leaders, and emperors. These aren't random tips. These are psychological truths. Hard-hitting. Undeniable. And when you master them, you don't just become attractive, you become unshakable. So if you're tired of confusion, tired of emotional games, and ready to become a man who operates with calm dominance and sharp clarity, then listen closely. You're about to shift the entire way you view female behavior, forever. Before we dive deep, hit that subscribe button if you're ready to level up. Drop a comment below with the word unshakable if you're committed to becoming that kind of man. And stay with me to the very end, because the final insight is the most powerful of all. It will change how you approach every woman from this moment forward. Part 1: Emotional Validation Addiction. One of the most overlooked female weaknesses is the constant need for emotional validation. Many women, whether consciously or subconsciously, are addicted to attention, reassurance, and emotional stimulation. This is not a flaw, it's rooted in biology. For centuries, emotional attunement meant safety and connection. But in today's world, this has been amplified by social media, dating apps, and constant external feedback. Here's the truth: the more you chase her with validation, the more power you give away. When you constantly reassure her, compliment her excessively, or jump to fix her mood, you become emotionally reactive. You become predictable. And predictability kills attraction. Stoicism teaches you to observe emotion without being ruled by it. You must become the eye in the storm. When she seeks validation, do not deny her connection, but offer it from a place of control and intention. Give praise only when it is earned. Respond, don't react. Hold your frame. The man who understands this weakness doesn't get sucked into the emotional highs and lows. He becomes the anchor. He becomes the one she respects, not the one she toys with. Apply this: the next time she gets upset over something minor, instead of rushing to fix it or apologize for something you didn't do, pause. Breathe. Observe her reaction. Let her feel the space of your presence without panic. That's when she begins to feel your power. Women are drawn to emotional leaders, not emotional responders. Master this, and you've already separated yourself from 90% of men. Stick around, because in part 2, we're going even deeper, into a weakness that almost no one talks about, but affects every single modern relationship. And remember, if you're resonating with this message, hit that subscribe button, and comment, hold the frame, below to show you're serious about mastering this level of self-control. Part 2, The Illusion of Options. One of the most deceptive weaknesses in modern women today is the illusion of limitless options. Social media, dating apps, and constant digital communication have created a false sense of abundance. A woman might post a single photo and receive hundreds of likes, messages, or compliments. This triggers a dopamine response, a feeling of being wanted, desired, and chosen. But here's the catch: quantity doesn't equal quality. The Stoic man understands this illusion for what it is, a trap. He doesn't chase, compete, or validate himself by fighting for attention in a crowded room. Instead, he stands apart. He becomes the observer, not the participant in the noise. Women are subconsciously drawn to what is scarce. When you step back and become selective, not just available, you create a new dynamic of power. You must remember, just because she can attract many men doesn't mean any of those men are valuable to her long term. In fact, most are disposable, offering only flattery, temporary excitement, or shallow conversation. When you detach from the need to compete, you rise above the crowd. Here's the application: don't chase validation. Don't overinvest early. Let her prove her character and value to you. Be the man who has standards. Be the one who observes, who listens, who doesn't flinch when she brings up her options. Because you know most of them aren't real. Stoicism is not about arrogance, it's about inner strength. When you know your worth, you don't need to prove it. And that silence, that calm, becomes deafening in a world full of noise. Up next, in part 3, we'll explore a critical weakness that even confident women try to hide: the fear of abandonment. You don't want to miss what's coming, because it will change how you see every interaction from now on. If you're getting value, don't just watch, comment, know your worth below and subscribe right now. We're just getting started. Part 3, Fear of Abandonment. Behind the confident selfies, the curated lifestyle posts, and the loud declarations of independence lies a quiet but deeply rooted fear in many modern women: the fear of being abandoned. This fear isn't always obvious. It's often hidden behind bravado, sarcasm, and emotional armor. But make no mistake, it's there, shaping decisions, reactions, and behaviors. Why is this important? Because when you understand this fear, you stop taking emotional outbursts personally. You start recognizing patterns, not just reacting to moods. A woman who fears abandonment may test your loyalty. She may pull away just to see if you'll chase. She may provoke you emotionally to confirm you won't leave. It's not about you. It's about her seeking control over the unknown. This fear stems from past experiences, childhood wounds, breakups, betrayals. But instead of healing, many women carry it into new relationships, hoping someone else will fix it. The Stoic man does not take that burden. He offers emotional stability, not emotional rescue. He provides presence, not performance. The lesson is simple but powerful: don't get trapped in her emotional chaos. Stay rooted. If she panics and tries to push you away, don't respond with desperation. Respond with calm. If she's testing your value, don't explain. Show her through your actions that you're not controlled by approval or fear. You are not the savior. You are the standard. When you master this perspective, she begins to relax. The fear loses its power. Why? Because you've shown you don't run, but you also don't beg. And that balance is what creates trust, not just attraction. Coming up in part 4, we'll uncover one of the most overlooked yet devastating weaknesses: emotional inconsistency. This next insight could save you from months or even years of wasted time. Make sure you subscribe, comment, rooted in strength, below, and stay locked in. We're only getting deeper. Part 4, Emotional Inconsistency. Emotional inconsistency is one of the most common and disruptive patterns you'll encounter in women who haven't done deep inner work. One day, she's warm, affectionate, full of admiration. The next, she's cold, distant, and critical. This roller coaster of affection can leave most men confused, frustrated, and emotionally drained, but not the Stoic men. Why is this emotional volatility so common? It often stems from internal conflict, a woman's struggle between her ideals and her instincts, between what she says she wants and what she's emotionally drawn to. Many women today are encouraged to be hyper-independent while simultaneously yearning for emotional safety and leadership. This creates a mental tug-of-war, and you are often caught in the middle. But here's the secret: this inconsistency is not always about you. It's often a reflection of her inner disorganization. And if you respond to every mood swing, if you chase every high and run from every low, you become part of the chaos. The Stoic approach is radically different. You remain emotionally consistent regardless of her mood. You don't match her instability, you become the anchor. When she's hot, you don't overindulge. When she's cold, you don't panic. You observe. You remain stable. You act, not react. This doesn't mean tolerating emotional abuse or being someone's emotional punching bag. It means refusing to be controlled by someone else's turbulence. You set the tone. You set the emotional climate. And if she refuses to regulate herself or take accountability for her volatility, you have the strength to walk away, not out of anger, but out of principle. Women deeply respect the man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't rise and fall with every emotional tide. Because in that calm consistency, they find something rare. They find security. And in security, true desire and trust can grow. Next, in part 5, we're diving into the need for external validation, how it rules modern female psychology, and how a Stoic man turns this into an advantage without ever being manipulative. If you're gaining value, comment, "I lead with calm," and don't forget to subscribe. The next part will reshape how you see confidence and control forever. Part 5, the craving for external validation. In today's digital age, the hunger for external validation has become one of the most dominant forces shaping human behavior, and women, in particular, are bombarded with messages that equate their worth with how much attention they can command. From social media likes to compliments from strangers, many women unconsciously anchor their self-esteem to how others perceive them. This creates a trap, not just for them, but for you, the men in their life. You see, a woman constantly seeking validation will often test you, intentionally or not, to see if she can extract more approval, more compliments, more reassurance. If you fall into this game, always trying to please her, constantly validating her just to keep her attention, you unknowingly position yourself as one of many sources she draws validation from. And over time, your value in her eyes decreases. But here's where Stoicism becomes a game changer. As a Stoic man, your validation is rare, selective, and rooted in truth, not desperation. You do not feed constant praise in hopes of maintaining her interest. Instead, your approval comes from a place of grounded discernment. When you give a compliment, it means something. When you withhold one, it's not out of punishment, but purpose. The result? She begins to view your validation as a prized possession, not a commodity. More importantly, your own sense of self-worth doesn't rise or fall based on how she reacts. You are not in competition with the validation she gets from others, because you are not part of the validation circus at all. You lead from within. You observe her desire for attention without judgment, but you never make it your mission to feed it. This changes the power dynamic entirely. When she realizes that your validation is not for sale, not easily won, she starts to see you differently. You become the grounded force in a world full of people trying too hard to please. And when she learns she can't manipulate you with her need for praise, she may, for the first time, start looking inward for her own validation. That's the effect of a Stoic leader. Next, in part 6, we'll break down the deep fear of vulnerability that many women carry, how it shows up in defensiveness and control, and how the Stoic man navigates this with calm, clarity, and strength. If you're still with me, type "validation is earned" in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed. The next insight is a powerful turning point in understanding true emotional leadership. Part 6, the fear of vulnerability and the illusion of control. Many women, despite appearing confident and outspoken on the outside, harbor a deep-rooted fear of vulnerability. This fear doesn't come from weakness, it often stems from experiences of betrayal, heartbreak, disappointment, or societal conditioning that taught them vulnerability is dangerous or unwise. So instead of opening up, they build walls. They develop control mechanisms. They project strength to shield their deepest insecurities. What does this look like in practice? It might appear as stubbornness, defensiveness, sarcasm, coldness, or overcompetence. These behaviors are not signs of strength, they are signs of guardedness. The moment you, as a man, try to get closer, they may push back. Not because they don't care, but because they fear that if they expose their emotional truth, they may lose power or feel weak. This is where most men get it wrong. They either try to force emotional vulnerability by digging too deep too fast, or they run away, thinking the woman is cold or unfeeling. But the Stoic man does neither. As a Stoic man, you understand that vulnerability is not something you can demand. It's something you earn access to, through consistency, calmness, and presence. You do not react emotionally when she puts up walls. You do not take it personally when she tests your patience. You remain rooted. You listen more than you speak. You offer stillness in moments where others would be shaken. The Stoic man respects her emotional armor but does not dance around it. He leads by example. He is vulnerable with discipline. He shares truths without expectation. He gives without begging for emotional returns. And slowly, sometimes very slowly, the walls come down. Not because you broke them, but because she decided she was safe enough to let them down. In that safety, she finds peace. And in your grounded presence, she finds permission to soften without fear. This, my friend, is emotional leadership. Not control. Not manipulation. but influence born from composure and unwavering presence. In Part 7, we're diving deep into the conflict between feminine emotional turbulence and masculine emotional discipline. You'll learn how Stoicism equips you to become a lighthouse in her storm, not a boat tossed in her waves. Before we continue, comment, "Calm is power," below if this resonates with you, and don't forget to subscribe. The next section will give you a perspective shift that most men never realize in their entire lifetime. Part 7, Emotional Turbulence versus Emotional Discipline. There is a natural emotional rhythm in many women that tends to fluctuate. Some days they are deeply nurturing, warm, expressive, and inviting. On other days, they may feel overwhelmed, reactive, distant, or even emotionally chaotic. This fluctuation is not a flaw. It is part of a biological and psychological rhythm influenced by hormones, emotional memory, and external pressures. However, for the average man who has not grounded himself in emotional discipline, this emotional wave can feel threatening, confusing, or even exhausting. Many men try to fix it. They argue. They explain. They retreat. They panic. And in doing so, they lose respect and admiration. What Stoicism teaches you is that your value as a man is not in how much emotion you can express, but how well you can contain and direct energy in a storm. The Stoic man is not heartless, he is heart-centered and head-controlled. He sees her turbulence not as an attack, but as a call for steady leadership. When a woman is in emotional chaos, she is testing, not always consciously, your ability to stay composed. Will you lose your center? Will you mirror her energy and escalate? Or will you become the still water that reflects clarity back to her? This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. But it does mean you don't take every wave as a personal offense. You recognize her outburst or mood as energy in motion. You don't interrupt it, you observe, you listen, and when the moment is right, you speak with clarity and calm conviction. That emotional discipline is what creates polarity. She feels safe enough to release her chaos knowing it will not destroy you. And in that safety, she slowly begins to regulate herself, not because you forced her, but because you led her. Emotional leadership is not about suppression. It's about transmutation. You take her emotional energy and alchemize it into intimacy, into clarity, into strength. But here's the twist most men never grasp: to lead emotionally, you must first know your own triggers. You cannot regulate her if you are constantly thrown off by her. The Stoic man reflects daily. He journals. He observes his own patterns. He is curious, not critical, of his emotional reactivity. He trains his nervous system to remain grounded in the face of tension. And in doing so, he becomes rare. He becomes the calm in a world full of chaos. In Part 8, we'll dive into how power struggles in relationships are often caused by emotional unawareness, and how to break that cycle by mastering one powerful principle Stoics have practiced for centuries. If this opened your eyes, comment, "Lead with calm," and subscribe right now. You're about to discover how to completely shift the power dynamic in any relationship, not by force, but by philosophy and presence. Part 8, The Power Dynamic Shift, Control Through Presence, Not Pressure. Most modern relationships fail not because of lack of love, but because of the ongoing tug-of-war for control. Who leads? Who submits? Who compromises more? Who wins more arguments? Underneath these subtle or overt struggles lies a fundamental misunderstanding: power in a relationship is not about dominance. It's about presence. Women instinctively test power. Not in the aggressive way men might imagine, but subtly, through words, reactions, and inconsistencies. They do not do this out of malice. They do it because they are seeking strength, not brute strength, but energetic leadership. They want to feel a presence that anchors them. A presence that says, "I am here. I see everything. And I will not be moved by emotional storms or drama." Now here's the truth most men are never told: a woman will surrender naturally to a man she feels safe with, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. But safety in this context doesn't mean passivity. It means stability. It means clarity. It means you do not fight her for power, because you already know your power lies in your unshakable presence. The Stoics taught that a man must rule himself before he tries to rule others. This begins with self-command. Do you command your time? Your emotions? Your impulses? Or are you ruled by external validation? Do you chase approval? Do you react to every mood she throws your way? The more you chase power through pressure, trying to argue your point, trying to get her to see your side, trying to fix every disagreement, the more you leak your power. But when you lead through stillness, through listening, through unreactive presence, she feels your gravity. And gravity cannot be argued with. It simply pulls. Presence means you're not explaining your value, you're embodying it. You're not telling her how stoic you are, you're demonstrating it in every interaction. You're not begging for peace, you are the peace. This does not mean you become passive. Stoicism is not passivity. It is active restraint paired with powerful intention. You speak less, but when you speak, it's direct, grounded, and clear. You don't argue to win. You listen to understand. You don't posture to control. You stand firm to guide. The man who embraces presence over pressure becomes a rare force. He doesn't have to chase women. Women gravitate toward him because his energy brings clarity to their chaos. He doesn't complain about disrespect, he commands respect without needing to demand it. In the next part, we're going even deeper, into the psychology of how women use silence, mixed signals, and withdrawal not to hurt you, but to measure your awareness. And you'll learn exactly what to do when she pulls away, emotionally or physically, to draw her back, not through manipulation, but through masculine mastery. If you're still here, comment, lead with presence, and subscribe. This journey is just getting started, and what's coming next may change how you view relationships forever. Part 9, The Psychology of Withdrawal, How to Respond When She Pulls Away. There will come a moment in every relationship, or even during a casual interaction, when a woman pulls away. It could be emotional distance. It could be physical space. It could be a lack of interest or enthusiasm. To the untrained men, this moment feels like rejection. It feels like failure. It feels like something has gone terribly wrong. But to the men who understand Stoic philosophy and emotional mastery, this moment is not a threat, it is an invitation. Withdrawal is not always about losing interest. In fact, it is often the opposite. It is a subconscious strategy many women use to test depth, security, and emotional leadership. This is especially true for strong, intelligent, emotionally complex women. They do not give their heart to a man they cannot trust with their vulnerability. And withdrawal becomes a mirror, a silent question: can you handle not being in control right now? A woman's emotional pullback is not the time to panic, chase, or over-explain. It is the time to observe. The first mistake many men make is trying to fix it immediately. They sense something is off, and they flood her with texts, questions, or attempts to reconnect. This does not build connection. It breaks attraction. Because in that moment, you show that your emotional stability is conditional on her approval. Stoicism teaches detachment, not coldness, but grounded perspective. It teaches us to pause before reacting, to reflect before responding. So when she pulls away, your first response is stillness. You don't need to fill the silence. You don't need to earn back her energy. You allow the space. Now, that does not mean you become indifferent. True indifference is laziness disguised as masculinity. Instead, you stay open, present, and self-assured. You keep living. You remain in your mission. You continue showing up in the world with strength and integrity. And if she comes back, and many do, you welcome her without resentment. If she doesn't, you let her go with peace, because no emotionally mature man clings to what no longer aligns with his values. When she withdraws, she is not just watching what you say, she is watching what you become. Do you become needy? Do you become insecure? Or do you remain rooted, calm, and centered? Understand this: the woman who tests your silence is subconsciously looking for a man who does not fear the void. The one who can sit in that void with strength becomes the one she trusts when storms come. So next time she pulls away, ask yourself, is this the end, or is this the test? And remember, it is not your job to chase. It is your job to lead, even in silence. Coming up next, we're diving into one of the most misunderstood female behaviors, the paradox of mixed signals. Why she says one thing and does another, how to decode emotional ambiguity, and how to never again get trapped in the confusion of, does she really want me, or is she playing games? Comment, I lead in silence, if this is hitting you deeply, and don't forget to subscribe, because what's coming next is pure emotional strategy rooted in Stoic strength. Part 10, Decoding Mixed Signals, Understand the Language Beneath Her Words. There's nothing more confusing or frustrating than when a woman sends mixed signals. One day she's warm, affectionate, full of excitement. The next, she's distant, cold, or emotionally unavailable. She says she likes you, but she cancels plans. She texts you all day, then suddenly disappears. You ask yourself, is she confused, or is she just playing games? Here's the truth many men don't realize: mixed signals are rarely intentional. They are often the result of emotional conflict happening beneath the surface. A woman may genuinely be drawn to you, but past pain, insecurity, fear of vulnerability, or internal pressure can pull her in the opposite direction. This internal contradiction creates the illusion of mixed signals. But to a man trained in Stoic clarity, this is not confusion, it's data. Mixed signals are never about logic. They are a reflection of emotional tension. Your job is not to decode her every word, your job is to read the pattern. Pay attention to consistency over time, not temporary emotional states. A woman who is serious about you will eventually move toward clarity, not further away from it. Now, this is where most men fail. When faced with mixed signals, they become reactive. They confront her. They ask for constant reassurance. Or worse, they try harder, giving more than they're receiving, just to prove they are worthy. This destroys polarity. It erodes respect. Because deep down, she's asking, if I can shake your confidence this easily, how can I trust you with my heart? A Stoic man responds with boundaries, not desperation. When she sends mixed signals, he does not chase, he observes. He steps back. Not as punishment, but as self-respect. He doesn't make her wrong for feeling uncertain. But he does not let uncertainty become the new standard. If she wants clarity, he meets her with openness. If she wants distance, he honors it. But he never lowers his standards for affection, consistency, or emotional maturity. And in doing this, he separates himself from every other man she's ever met. Not because he manipulates her emotions, but because he masters his own. Here is the bombshell you need to understand: mixed signals are not about you. They're about her internal world. But how you respond to them will determine whether that world calms down or spirals into chaos. So, next time you get those confusing signs, a warm message followed by cold silence, do not react. Do not confront. Do not spiral. Step back. Observe. And lead with quiet strength. Coming next, we're going even deeper, into a level of mastery few men ever reach. We'll explore how to use female emotional energy as fuel for growth, how to turn every moment of tension, rejection, or attraction into a mirror for your personal evolution. If you're still watching and ready for that level of depth, comment, "I lead with clarity," and make sure you've subscribed. The next lesson will change how you see not only women, but your entire life. Part 11, Emotional Energy Transmutation, Using Her Emotions as a Mirror for Your Growth. Every emotion she brings to you, desire, frustration, doubt, excitement, confusion, is not a problem to be fixed. It is energy. And energy, when channeled with awareness, becomes power. This is one of the greatest Stoic secrets when it comes to navigating female relationships. Most men see emotional chaos and try to escape it. A Stoic man sees emotional energy and uses it as fuel. Think of it like this. When a woman challenges you emotionally, she is not attacking your masculinity, she is testing its foundation. Will you crumble under her storm, or will you become the calm center that anchors her to stability? Will you take her confusion personally, or will you use it as a mirror to expose your own insecurities and unhealed wounds? Let's be clear. Stoicism is not suppression. You are not pretending her feelings don't affect you. You are not masking your emotions behind a false wall of silence. You are meeting the storm, calmly, fully, and without losing your center. You are transmuting emotional chaos into awareness. Here's a real-world example. She criticizes you out of nowhere. Maybe it's your ambition, your schedule, your friends. You feel defensive. But instead of lashing back, you pause. You ask yourself, what part of me is being threatened by this comment? Is it your ego? Is it your fear of not being enough? You investigate. You breathe. You stay present. And in that moment, you grow. That is transmutation. You see, women are emotional beings by nature, and that is not a flaw. It is a gift. It is through her emotions that you are invited to evolve. But only if you stop trying to manage her and start using what she brings as a gateway to mastering yourself. This is where ordinary men drop off. They get defensive. They get passive-aggressive. They argue or shut down. They see her emotional energy as chaos to avoid. But the man who rises, the man who leads, turns it into gold. Now here's the bombshell insight that most never realize. A woman will never feel safe with a man who fears her emotions. She will never fully open to a man who tries to mute her natural energy. But give her the experience of a man who can stand in the fire of her emotion without flinching, and you will unlock a level of trust and desire that cannot be faked. This is your edge. This is your power. In the next part, we are going to the root. We'll break down how to maintain dominance without control, how to be the leader in any relationship without ever using force, fear, or manipulation. If you're still watching and you're serious about mastering not only her world, but your own, comment, "I rise in the fire," and make sure to subscribe now. The next segment will elevate your entire concept of what leadership means in relationships. Part 12, True Dominance, Leading Without Force, Controlling Without Control. Dominance. It is one of the most misunderstood traits in modern relationships. Society has twisted the idea of dominance into something aggressive, toxic, or abusive. But true Stoic dominance is the complete opposite. It is not about overpowering others. It is about mastering yourself so completely that others naturally trust your direction, respect your presence, and follow your lead, not out of fear, but from deep instinct. Let's clarify something important. Women do not want weak men. They do not want a partner who tiptoes around their moods, constantly seeks approval, or waits to be told what to do. At the same time, they do not want tyrants, men who command through intimidation, suppress emotion, or dominate through fear. What they truly crave is a man who leads from internal strength. That strength comes from clarity, from purpose, from discipline, from living a life so aligned with your values that you never need to impose control, because you are control. You represent order, direction, presence. This is what Stoic leadership looks like. And it is magnetic. So how do you lead without force? First, stop trying to control her. A Stoic man does not try to micromanage her thoughts, dictate her every move, or argue to prove himself right. That's insecurity in disguise. Control is for the weak. Direction is for the strong. You must instead become undeniably grounded. Your words match your actions. Your presence calms her nervous system. Your life is governed by mission, not emotion. In your world, there is structure. There is purpose. There is stillness. This gives her the freedom to be feminine. To trust. To surrender. To follow your lead, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Here's the powerful paradox: the more you release your need to control her, the more power you gain over the dynamic. Why? Because you are no longer reacting to her chaos, you are anchoring it. You are the lighthouse in her storm. You are the mountain she can lean on. This doesn't mean being passive. It means you initiate. You decide. You walk first. You are decisive in plans. You take responsibility when needed. You own your space. But you do it all with calm, centered intention, not emotional outbursts or insecure dominance. When conflict arises, you don't escalate. You de-escalate. You don't argue to win. You guide the energy back to harmony. That is leadership. That is dominance. And let this truth sink in: the woman who truly respects you will want to follow your lead. She will crave your leadership. But only if it is real. Only if you have done the inner work. Only if your power comes from depth, not performance. This is why Stoicism is your weapon. It trains you to be unshakable. To lead with integrity. To dominate without domination. In the next part, we're diving into the art of emotional safety. You'll learn how to create a space so grounded and secure that she reveals parts of herself even she has hidden. This is the key to unlocking devotion, loyalty, and a bond few men will ever experience. If you're serious about becoming that man, the one who leads from strength, not fear, drop a comment below saying "lead with presence," and subscribe right now. because we're about to explore how emotional safety becomes the doorway to irresistible connection. Part 13, Emotional Safety, the secret weapon of irresistible men. If there's one thing that distinguishes men who keep a woman's heart from those who merely attract it for a moment, it is this: emotional safety. And most men completely overlook it. They think being emotionally safe means becoming soft, overly agreeable, or turning into her therapist. But that's not Stoic emotional safety. That's neediness in disguise. Real emotional safety is strength. It's the kind of strength that allows a woman to fully relax in your presence. To stop performing. To drop her guard. To let her feminine essence unfold. It is only when she feels safe with you, not just physically, but emotionally, that she shows you her full self. And that's when real connection begins. So what does emotional safety actually look like in practice? It begins with your own inner stillness. If you are reactive, unpredictable, or ruled by your own triggers, she can never fully trust you. Her nervous system will always stay on edge. She'll test you, push you, withdraw. Not because she wants to, but because her body can't relax into someone she doesn't feel steady around. You must be the mountain. Calm. Consistent. Centered. That is emotional safety. It also means listening without judgment. When she speaks, you don't interrupt. You don't fix. You don't try to prove her wrong. You hold space. You receive her emotions without needing to control or change them. That is strength. Emotional safety means you do not weaponize vulnerability. If she opens up and reveals something delicate, a wound, a fear, a shame, you protect that moment like gold. You don't use it in an argument. You don't mock it later. You honor it. And she will remember that forever. It also means consistency. You say what you mean. You follow through. You don't disappear when things get hard. You remain present, even when she's upset, even when she's emotional. Most men run. They shut down. They get defensive. But a Stoic man breathes through the fire and remains unshaken. That is safety. And here's the bombshell: the more emotionally safe you become, the more feminine she becomes. Her guard drops. Her playfulness rises. Her sensuality awakens. Because now she's not surviving. She's living. She's expressing. And you become the men who unlock that side of her, a role she will never forget. Understand this: in a world full of men who chase validation, who try to impress, who react out of fear, you become unforgettable by being safe. Not in a boring way. In a powerful way. She can cry with you. Laugh with you. Rage in front of you. And still feel chosen, seen, and held. That's the man who gets devotion. Not just attention. Not just attraction. But real, soul-level devotion. In the next part, we're going to uncover one of the deepest female desires that most men overlook completely: the hunger to feel your depth. This is where attraction turns into obsession. You don't want to miss it. If you're learning something powerful so far, comment "Safe Men Win" below, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us to the end, because what comes next might be the turning point in your entire mindset as a man. Part 14, the desire to feel your depth, becoming the men she cannot forget. One of the most misunderstood concepts in attraction is the idea of depth. Most men think that what women are looking for is a surface-level connection, based on looks, money, or status. But those things might attract her initially, but they won't keep her interested for long. True, lasting attraction stems from something far deeper: your ability to make her feel your depth. Women want to feel that you have layers. That there's more to you than meets the eye. They want to sense that you're not just a surface-level personality, but someone who has a rich, complex inner world. This depth is what triggers true emotional attraction and makes her want to invest in you long-term. How do you develop this depth? It starts with introspection. You must cultivate an inner life, a rich world of thought, philosophy, experience, and self-awareness. A man of depth is someone who is not only aware of his emotions but is comfortable with them. He does not suppress them, but he also does not let them control him. He owns his emotions and lets them inform his actions without being overwhelmed by them. When you can have conversations that dive into philosophy, life experiences, dreams, and fears, not just the superficial stuff, she will see that you are a man who has lived, who has thought deeply, and who is capable of providing more than just empty conversation. Women don't just want a guy to talk about the weather or movies. They want to discuss what really matters, the things that shape a person's soul. When you talk about something meaningful, something that lights you up, something that excites you, that's when she'll begin to sense the depth in you. She'll feel it, and it will pull her closer, whether she realizes it consciously or not. But here's the key, it's not just about talking deeply. It's about listening deeply too. A man who listens to her with attention and curiosity, a man who asks probing questions and wants to know the core of who she is a man she can't help but be attracted to. He's not only interested in her body or her looks, he's interested in her soul. This type of depth builds trust. It builds intimacy. When a woman feels like you're genuinely invested in understanding her on a deeper level, when she knows you're not just after a quick fix or shallow validation, she begins to trust you. And trust is one of the most powerful accelerants of romantic attraction. And let me tell you something, when a woman begins to feel that depth, when she feels like you are a man who has the ability to lead her, to challenge her, to make her grow, that's when she's hooked. That's when her interest becomes devotion. In the next part, we will explore how to embody this depth consistently, to maintain it, and to keep her continually fascinated with you. Don't go anywhere, because the next lesson will show you how to make her feel your presence without saying a word. If you're starting to see how depth changes everything, make sure to comment, "I want depth" below, hit that subscribe button, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this powerful shift. Stay tuned for what's coming up next. This is the part where things get even more intense. Part 15, The Power of Emotional Resilience, Becoming Unshakable. Emotional resilience is the ability to remain calm and composed no matter what life throws your way. It is the strength to weather storms, not crumble under pressure, and to remain grounded even in the face of adversity. This is a quality that women absolutely find magnetic. Why? Because emotional resilience signals stability and strength. When you are emotionally resilient, you can handle any situation without losing control. Whether it's a challenging day at work, a conflict in your personal life, or unexpected setbacks, you remain unfazed. This doesn't mean that you're cold or detached, but rather that you have the ability to respond thoughtfully and constructively, rather than reacting impulsively. For women, emotional resilience is incredibly attractive because it signals to them that you are someone they can lean on. Life is unpredictable, and everyone faces difficulties. But when a woman knows that no matter what happens, you'll be able to handle it without falling apart, it provides her with a sense of security. Being emotionally resilient means you don't crumble when things don't go your way. You don't let small setbacks derail you. Instead, you stay calm, reassess, and move forward. Women respect and are drawn to this kind of strength because it shows that you are grounded in who you are, no matter what external circumstances arise. It's about emotional maturity, the ability to understand your feelings, acknowledge them, and decide on the best course of action. It's about not getting carried away by frustration, anger, or fear. When you remain composed in the face of adversity, it's incredibly powerful. But here's the thing, emotional resilience doesn't come overnight. It's something that must be practiced daily. It's developed by confronting challenges head-on, learning from setbacks, and constantly evolving into someone who is unshaken by life's curveballs. Think about the times when life tested you. Were you able to remain calm? Did you allow yourself to spiral out of control, or did you handle the situation with grace and dignity? Emotional resilience is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel them, it's about responding to your emotions in a healthy, productive way. A man who is emotionally resilient doesn't let stress or frustration cloud his judgment. He takes a step back, processes his emotions, and then acts with clarity. Women find this incredibly attractive because they feel that they are in good hands with someone who can handle any storm. By developing emotional resilience, you become the type of man who doesn't just survive difficult times, you thrive in them. And this ability to rise above challenges is what creates long-term attraction. It demonstrates your leadership, your maturity, and your capacity for growth. In the next lesson, we'll dive into how you can implement these ideas into your daily life to strengthen your emotional resilience. But before we do, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful insights that will transform your approach to attraction. Let me know in the comments how emotional resilience has changed your life, or if it's something you want to develop moving forward. Stay tuned for the next part, where we'll reveal another secret that will completely change the way you attract women. You don't want to miss this. Part 16, The Art of Listening, Mastering Communication. One of the most underestimated but highly attractive qualities in a man is the ability to truly listen. Listening is more than just hearing words, it's about understanding, empathizing, and showing genuine interest in what someone else is saying. When you listen attentively, you create a space where meaningful connections can thrive. Women are drawn to men who listen actively because it shows that they are not just focused on themselves, but they care about what others are going through. Listening gives women the space to express themselves freely, knowing that they will be heard and understood. It's one of the key foundations of any healthy, long-term relationship. But here's where most men miss the mark. Listening doesn't just mean sitting quietly while the other person talks. It involves engaging with what is being said. This means responding with thoughtful comments, asking questions to clarify, and showing that you're emotionally present in the conversation. It's about focusing on the speaker, not on your phone, not on your thoughts about what to say next, but on the person in front of you. Women want to feel heard, and when they talk to you, they don't want to feel like they're just speaking to fill the silence. They want someone who can truly engage with them, understand their feelings, and respond in a way that shows they value what is being shared. That's why active listening is so attractive. It's a sign of emotional intelligence and maturity. Think about the times you felt truly listened to. Maybe it was with a friend, a mentor, or a colleague. How did that make you feel? When you feel heard, it fosters trust and respect. The same holds true for relationships with women. When you listen with empathy, you strengthen that bond and deepen your connection. So, how do you become a better listener? Start by putting away distractions. Turn off your phone or put it on silent when you're having a conversation. Look the person in the eye. Show through your body language that you are engaged, nod, lean in slightly, and make gestures that show you're paying attention. Ask follow-up questions that show you are interested in their perspective, and if they share something that's important to them, validate their feelings. It's also important to be patient. Don't interrupt or try to solve the problem immediately. Sometimes, a woman just wants to express herself without needing a solution. Listening without judgment or offering unsolicited advice shows that you are present and attentive. When you become an expert in active listening, you'll find that your relationships become more profound. Women will appreciate the fact that they can speak openly with you, knowing that you'll not only hear them but also understand them. This builds an unspoken trust that's incredibly powerful and attractive. In the next lesson, we will explore another key component that can make you even more irresistible in the eyes of women. But first, if you're finding this content helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next powerful lesson. Now, let's dive deeper into how you can use the art of listening to strengthen your connections and take your relationships to the next level. Stay tuned, because we're just getting started. Part 17, The Power of Vulnerability, Building Stronger Connections. One of the greatest challenges many men face is embracing vulnerability. Society often teaches men to suppress their emotions and avoid showing any weakness, but this mindset can be detrimental to your personal growth and relationships. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's one of the most powerful tools you can use to connect with others on a deeper level. Women are not only attracted to strength, they also value emotional openness. When a man allows himself to be vulnerable, he shows authenticity and courage. He's not afraid to share his fears, his dreams, or his struggles. This kind of openness is magnetic because it creates a space of trust and emotional intimacy. It's important to note that vulnerability doesn't mean sharing everything all the time. It's about being open when the moment calls for it and being honest about your feelings and experiences. Whether you're talking about past hardships, your hopes for the future, or even small insecurities, showing your authentic self is what draws people closer to you. When you open up and let someone in, you give them permission to do the same. Vulnerability encourages women to share their own thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. It fosters an environment of emotional connection, making it easier to build a deeper bond. But many men are afraid to embrace vulnerability because they fear being judged or rejected. This fear is natural, but it's important to recognize that true emotional intimacy can't be built on a foundation of walls. By letting your guard down and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, you become more real, more relatable, and, ironically, more attractive. Consider the times when someone has been vulnerable with you. Did it make you feel closer to them? Did it make them seem more human and accessible? That's the power of vulnerability. When you show your real self, imperfections and all, it creates a connection that's much stronger than any superficial facade. So, how do you practice vulnerability in a healthy way? Start by recognizing and acknowledging your emotions. Instead of bottling them up, express them constructively. Share your thoughts and feelings with someone you trust. You don't have to share everything, but opening up about your experiences or struggles shows that you trust the other person, and that trust creates a deeper connection. When you embrace vulnerability, you make space for others to do the same, and in turn, you will find yourself in more meaningful and fulfilling relationships. The key is to be patient with yourself. It's okay to take small steps toward vulnerability, and over time, it will become easier. Vulnerability is a gateway to emotional intimacy, and when practiced in the right context, it can make you irresistibly attractive to women. They will appreciate your authenticity and the emotional strength that comes from being open. So, don't be afraid to show your true self, it will only strengthen the connection you have with others. In the next lesson, we'll explore how mastering self-respect and setting boundaries can enhance your relationships and make you even more attractive. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep up with these valuable insights on how to take control of your life and relationships. Now, let's continue our journey into mastering these 10 female weaknesses, as we explore the power of self-respect and boundaries. Stay tuned, because the next lesson will be a game changer. Part 18, Mastering Self-Respect and Setting Boundaries, Key to Healthy Relationships. Self-respect is the cornerstone of any successful relationship. Without it, there's a danger of becoming overly reliant on others for validation, which can lead to unhealthy dynamics. When you truly respect yourself, you set the tone for how others will treat you. If you don't value your time, energy, or boundaries, neither will anyone else. Setting clear boundaries is a direct reflection of self-respect. When you establish limits, you show that you have self-worth and that you expect to be treated with dignity. This doesn't mean building walls around yourself, rather, it's about teaching others how to treat you in a way that aligns with your values and well-being. Women are naturally attracted to men who know their worth and are not afraid to set healthy boundaries. This could be as simple as respecting your personal space, time, or emotional needs. It's about showing that you won't tolerate disrespect or mistreatment, and that your well-being comes first. Setting boundaries isn't about being rigid or inflexible, it's about knowing when to say no, and understanding that doing so doesn't make you selfish. In fact, it's a sign of self-awareness and maturity. By setting boundaries, you show that you have a sense of self, and this makes you much more attractive. Boundaries also protect you from emotional burnout and unnecessary stress. When you constantly allow others to overstep your limits, it can lead to resentment and frustration. On the other hand, when you establish boundaries and communicate them effectively, it enhances your sense of personal control and reinforces your confidence. Women appreciate men who have the strength to protect their boundaries. It indicates emotional maturity and a high level of self-respect. They understand that you won't tolerate disrespect, and that makes them feel safe, secure, and valued in the relationship. So how do you set boundaries effectively? It begins with self-awareness. Understand your needs and your values. Reflect on what makes you feel uncomfortable or disrespected, and decide what you will and won't tolerate. From there, communicate those boundaries clearly and assertively. For example, if you need space to recharge after a long day of work, communicate that to your partner. Let them know that it's not about them, but rather about your personal need to unwind and reset. Setting this boundary will allow you to maintain your emotional health, which in turn makes you more present and engaged when you are around others. Remember, boundaries are not a way to control others, but rather a way to take control of your life and protect your peace. They reflect your understanding of your own needs and priorities. When you set boundaries with respect and empathy, you create an environment where both you and your partner can thrive emotionally, mentally, and physically. The most attractive thing about a man with boundaries is his ability to maintain his self-respect while showing respect for others. It's this balance that creates a healthy, sustainable relationship dynamic. In the next lesson, we will dive into how embracing your independence and encouraging personal growth can make you even more attractive to women, while ensuring that you maintain a strong sense of self. Stay tuned as we uncover the power of independence in relationships. Before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. Share your thoughts on boundaries and how they've impacted your relationships. We'd love to hear your perspective. Stay with us as we continue to explore how to master these key female weaknesses and take full control of your life. Part 19, Embracing independence, the power of personal growth and self-sufficiency. Independence is a vital aspect of any successful and attractive personality. In relationships, it's easy to get lost in the need for validation and connection, but the key to maintaining a healthy and lasting bond lies in fostering a strong sense of self-reliance. Women are drawn to men who are confident in their own abilities, who are driven by their own passions, and who don't depend on others for their happiness or sense of purpose. When you are independent, you're not looking to fill a void in your life. You're complete as you are. This self-sufficiency brings immense confidence, which in turn becomes magnetic. Being able to enjoy your own company and pursue your own interests without relying on someone else for constant emotional support or validation is not only attractive, it also shows maturity and emotional stability. Personal growth is a natural extension of independence. As you work on developing yourself, whether it's through learning new skills, developing a new hobby, or simply improving your mindset, you become more interesting, more capable, and more accomplished. Women admire men who are continually striving to improve and better themselves, not just for their own sake, but also for the betterment of their relationships and their environment. Personal growth also plays a critical role in your emotional well-being. When you invest in your growth, whether that's improving your physical health, expanding your knowledge, or enhancing your emotional intelligence, you gain greater resilience. This emotional resilience is key to weathering the ups and downs of life, especially in relationships. You're less likely to fall into a negative emotional spiral and more likely to approach challenges with clarity and calm. A key aspect of embracing independence is the ability to find fulfillment in your own life, separate from the relationship. You don't need a partner to feel complete. Instead, you bring your own unique value to the table. When you're independent, you can contribute to the relationship without losing yourself in it. This sense of self ensures that the relationship remains balanced, healthy, and mutually fulfilling. Moreover, when you encourage your partner's independence as well, it creates a dynamic where both individuals are thriving in their own pursuits. A relationship based on mutual growth and support, rather than dependency or emotional neediness, fosters long-term success and satisfaction for both people involved. Another key point to remember is that women appreciate a man who encourages her to grow and thrive on her own as well. Supporting her independence and self-sufficiency shows that you value her as a person in her own right, not just as someone who fills a role in your life. This is incredibly empowering and leads to a relationship built on respect, trust, and mutual admiration. Being independent doesn't mean being emotionally distant or shutting out your partner. It simply means that you value your autonomy and personal space. You know that your worth doesn't depend on your relationship, but that the relationship can be even more rewarding when both partners are secure in themselves. So, how do you start embracing independence? Begin by focusing on your own growth. Take time each day to invest in yourself, whether it's through reading, exercising, or pursuing a passion project. Don't be afraid to pursue your own interests and prioritize your mental and emotional health. Set aside time for personal reflection and growth, and make sure you're always striving to be the best version of yourself. By taking these small steps every day, you'll become a more confident, self-sufficient, and resilient person, which will only make you more attractive to women. In the next lesson, we'll explore how cultivating emotional intelligence and managing your emotions effectively can increase your appeal and help you build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. Share your thoughts on independence in relationships, and let us know how you're working on fostering your own personal growth. Your journey to mastering these key female weaknesses continues. Part 20, Cultivating Emotional Intelligence, How Mastering Your Emotions Makes You Irresistible. Emotional intelligence is a game changer. It's one of the most powerful qualities a man can develop, especially when it comes to attracting and maintaining strong, healthy relationships. Women are naturally drawn to men who are in touch with their emotions, able to understand and manage them, and who know how to empathize with others. Emotional intelligence isn't just about being in touch with your own feelings. It's about understanding the emotions of those around you, responding appropriately, and navigating complex social interactions with grace. The ability to control your emotions is crucial in all aspects of life, but especially in romantic relationships. When you're emotionally intelligent, you're less likely to be swept up in uncontrollable reactions to stress, conflict, or frustration. Instead, you can respond with patience, understanding, and a level head, even when things get difficult. This self-regulation shows emotional maturity, which is extremely attractive to women. Being emotionally intelligent means you can handle situations without letting your emotions get in the way of logical thinking. When faced with challenges, you don't react impulsively, but instead take the time to analyze the situation, understand your own feelings, and consider the feelings of others before responding. This approach creates a more thoughtful and respectful environment in any relationship. A crucial part of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. This involves understanding your own emotional triggers and recognizing how your emotions affect your thoughts and behaviors. When you're aware of how you're feeling in any given moment, you're better equipped to make conscious decisions about how to respond. Self-awareness helps you avoid reacting based on momentary impulses or frustrations, which can often damage relationships. Instead, you can approach challenges with a calm, composed mindset. Empathy is another pillar of emotional intelligence. When you can empathize with the emotions of others, it allows you to connect with people on a deeper level. In relationships, empathy helps you understand your partner's perspective, validate their feelings, and show compassion. Women appreciate men who are able to listen and offer emotional support when needed, without trying to fix everything or dismiss their feelings. Simply being present and understanding can create a deeper emotional bond, which is key to a long-lasting relationship. However, emotional intelligence also extends to how you manage conflict. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship, but it's how you handle it that matters. Men who have high emotional intelligence are able to de-escalate tense situations, communicate effectively, and find solutions without turning the situation into a power struggle. This ability to manage conflict in a healthy, productive way demonstrates maturity and a deep respect for the relationship. In addition to empathy and conflict management, emotional intelligence involves emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, challenges, or disappointments. Life isn't always smooth sailing, and women are naturally drawn to men who can handle difficult times with poise and strength. When you can face adversity without becoming overwhelmed or losing your composure, it builds trust and admiration in your partner. Building emotional intelligence takes time and effort, but it's worth it. Start by practicing mindfulness. Be present in each moment and reflect on your emotions. Take time to check in with yourself, asking how you feel and why. The more you understand your own emotions, the more you'll be able to respond to others in a balanced, empathetic way. In addition, work on developing active listening skills. When you listen carefully to others and truly understand their feelings, it deepens your connection and enhances the emotional bond. Developing emotional intelligence is an ongoing journey. It's about practicing self-regulation, empathy, and resilience every day. The more you practice these skills, the more natural they'll become, and the more attractive you'll be to women. They'll admire your ability to handle emotions with grace and will see you as a stable, reliable, and understanding partner. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the secrets of mastering female weaknesses and unlocking your full potential in relationships. Part 21, The Final Word, Mastering Emotional Intelligence for Lasting Attraction and Connection. So, here we are. After exploring the powerful art of mastering emotional intelligence, you now have the tools to elevate yourself as a man who exudes emotional strength, stability, and connection. These traits aren't just attractive, they're essential for building meaningful, lasting relationships with women. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being present, self-aware, and emotionally mature. When you truly understand your emotions and those of others, you're able to build a foundation of trust, respect, and deep emotional connection. These qualities aren't just learned overnight, but with consistent effort and mindfulness, they can transform how you relate to others and significantly increase your attraction factor. By mastering emotional intelligence, you're not only empowering yourself to navigate life's challenges with confidence, but you're also cultivating relationships that are genuine, fulfilling, and built on mutual respect and emotional intimacy. Women crave emotional safety, and when you offer that through empathy, self-regulation, and active listening, you become not just attractive, but irresistible. But that's not all. This is just one of the many powerful lessons we've covered in this journey of understanding and mastering the nuances of female attraction and behavior. There's so much more to discover, and we've only scratched the surface. The truth is, each lesson we've discussed is a building block to becoming the best version of yourself, a man who attracts the right kind of women, forms deep connections, and builds lasting, meaningful relationships. Before you go, I want to hear from you. How do you plan on applying these emotional intelligence principles in your life? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I'm excited to see how you'll use this powerful knowledge to create positive change in your life. If you found value in today's video and want more tips on mastering relationships, self-development, and becoming the best man you can be, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started, and there's much more to come. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next chapter in this journey. Thanks for watching, and remember, being emotionally intelligent isn't just about attracting the right women, it's about creating a life full of meaningful connections, understanding, and true fulfillment. Stay tuned, keep growing, and until next time, take control and unlock your full potential. Subscribe now, share this video with someone who could use these life-changing insights, and keep coming back for more of the deep wisdom you need to succeed in all areas of life. You're on the path to mastering yourself and unlocking the secrets of attraction. Let's make sure you get there, together.